Okay, so today we're going to be reviewing Convoluted Universe book 5, and I'm so excited. Okay, so here's the book, the Convoluted Universe book 5. I love it. So cool, the cover. And then I also have this cover. The reason why I have two is because I ordered this one thinking it was the other one, because that was the photo in Barnes & Noble, but it ended up giving me this one, which I don't like the cover. I like the other cover better. Okay, so we finally reached the end of this series. Oh my goodness. There's a lot to talk about. I have to start this video off with a thank you to Dolores Cannon for the amazing work that she has done to give us all this incredible information no scientist ever could. I recently found out that she passed away October 18th, 2014, and it's what, October 12th today? How crazy. I don't know how I didn't know this. I swear I was under the impression that she was alive for some reason. But anyway, this amazing information wouldn't exist in our minds without her work. So thank you, Dolores Cannon. So book 5 is the last book in the Convoluted Universe series for obvious reasons of her passing away. So there's no one to write book 6 because I'm sure these books could go on forever. We've barely touched the surface of the content out there, really, and it's so true. The more you know, the more you don't know. And that's how I feel right now. This is also the shortest book in the whole series. I literally read it in like 6 days. But in book 4, Dolores said that she had countless cases that she still wanted to put into future books. But so there is a possibility that her daughter Julia might take up after her and do that. But to be honest, I don't think she will, but never say never. And my intention with this video is to activate your DNA and realize the entirety of your reality, that it's not what it is, and that there's so much more, and you are so much more. In the chapter An End to Killing, it is confirmed that there is no judgment by anyone in the spirit side. Judgment does not exist. Just reviewing the lessons you learned in that life, and that is it. No judgment, as so many have been taught to believe. The client's name is Ben, and one of the past lives he went to was when he was a gladiator in ancient times, and he killed many people being a gladiator. What is that in the back? Oh, there's nothing. Okay, sorry. And Dolores was wondering if he created any karma when he took those people's lives, and was wondering how it works when you kill people. And Ben answered through trance that he has to pay it back. There's an agreement to come back to play a part where he reciprocates and has to suffer for similar things that they suffered from his hand. He doesn't have to repay it all in one lifetime because that would be too much. So there you have it. Don't kill. And it's so interesting how it looks on the spirit side. He says that there are several different options for him to choose how he wants to repay the karma. He could choose a life where he is killed in war by someone he killed in the past life as a gladiator, or he can choose a life where he robs someone he killed in that gladiator and they like shoot him as a repayment for the karma. How crazy, right? This proves that we do choose how we die on the spirit side. There are no accidents ever, as all the entities have said constantly throughout the series. And also, repaying karma for killing doesn't always mean that you die in the next life. It could be like an illness, or you being handicapped, or getting in a freak accident. So yeah, there's many different ways of going about that. In the chapter Experiencing Being Total Energy, the client that came in to see Dolores is in a wheelchair and has a lot of physical problems, and towards the end, Dolores brings out the subconscious of the client and asks to do a body scan to see where all his physical problems are, and the subconscious starts healing everything in the man's body. And the subconscious uses source energy, and Dolores saw that the client started sweating so much because of the heat energy used to fix his entire body. And isn't that amazing that we ourselves can heal ourselves completely? This man was literally completely healed using white light energy, which comes from source. In the chapter I Am You, the entity confirmed that when people think they have been taken on board a spacecraft, that's not always true. Many times they have been taken to another dimension, and of course, it's to check up on you and do some adjustments on your body or your etheric body. In the chapter Devourer of Worlds, believe it or not, the entity says there's a crisis or emergency that it was called to, and the issue was that there was something moving through space, time, through the universe that's creating a lot of dark energy, and it seems to be eating planets. Literally makes the planets dark and then consumes them. And I immediately thought of the world-eating character from Marvel Comics. A lot of you should know Galactus. Literally, it's the same concept. And the entity was saying that this energy, this dark energy, was coming from another universe somehow, or something outside of our space-time, and it's not supposed to be there. Come to later find out in the session that even though this was a past life, this dark energy in space is still in our universe in the present moment. And the entity said that this dark energy is lost. It's just living how it knows to live, but the way it lives is destructive in our universe, but the dimension that it comes from, the laws of physics work differently, whereas its living style would be in harmony over there with that universe, if that makes sense, but to us it's catastrophic. So the reason this dark energy got lost was because another energy created an opening in universes and dimensions, or a reality flux in an experiment that went wrong, and they can't close it back to until these beings find their way back. And so apparently the job of certain volunteers that come to Earth to incarnate as humans, their job is to spread the light, to help lift the vibration of our planet Earth, so that that specific dark energy can steer away from us, because supposedly if it comes across a planet that's super light and high in vibration, that it won't come near it. And so I love this. In the chapter A Column of Stone, the client goes back to a past life as literally being a column of stone, or essentially a rock. And when Dolores asked the client towards the end of that life what the purpose of being just a column of stone was, the subconscious said that no matter how small, everything is a contribution. And Dolores said, it's a contribution to what? And the subconscious says, to the all, which I guess would mean to source or God. It's a contribution to everything, right? And the subconscious says, oh. And Dolores asks how her being a column of stone is contributing to the all. And the subconscious says, expansion. Each experience expands and contributes to the all. From the largest to the smallest task, everything has value and reason. And did I not mention that in my Purpose of Everything video? That one of the purposes of everything is expansion and experience. And that no matter how little or insignificant you think you may be, you are a huge contributing factor to everything. In the chapter Observer Sent to Help Earth, we learn that the sun is actually cold. We feel the sun as heat because the rays are heated before they get to Earth. As the rays descend to Earth, they get warm, but the sun is a universal, actually multiversal stargate. And there is a civilization living inside the sun and on the dark side of the moon and inside the Earth. The sun is a stargate in the sense that you can go to other universes once you've adjusted your frequency there. It's kind of like a station to change your frequency before entering a different universe, so you don't mess the other universe up with your frequency. In the chapter, A Different Perception of God, the client sees himself as a microscopic being in the literal body of God. He feels drawn to go up to the third eye of God, but at the moment, he's where the nose is. And as he keeps describing it, he says he feels like he turns into a vapor or a mist type of substance, and it reminds him of a meditation he had where humans joined the table of the Galactic Federation, signifying humanity finally coming together as one. So we finally get a little more information on the backdrop people, in case it didn't all make sense in my last video. The entity here says that the backdrop people are basically just holographic images. They seem to be solid humans, but they're not. They are in a way because the attention everybody is giving them to them makes them solid. The attention is giving them reality, so some of them get to have a real identity at a point. And many of them never get that chance. If you went up to one of these people and talked to them, you wouldn't tell the difference. They're alive, but in a holographic world, it's just an image that has the potential to become real. And that potential image gets activated by the image given to the others through their attention, through their awareness. These backdrop people don't have souls or a higher self. The entity says that everything is actually an illusion until you decide it exists. So they're basically just energy that fills up the space within our individual hologram, kind of like a movie does with extras and people in the backdrop. So I'm really glad she mentions this in the chapter, a creator light being. That's the name of the chapter. The client jumps to a future life. I've always wanted to hear about a future life instead of past lives. So linearly, this is what we would think of as the future life. It's all existing right now anyways, we already know this. The client describes the environment as strange looking buildings and crafts flying in the sky. This client specifically was part of a group that Dolores has mentioned in the series, but I actually never mentioned them. He's living on Earth, but also has a body being preserved in suspended animation on board a spaceship somewhere where it's awaiting the soul's return from its adventure. So you can basically have several experiences simultaneously, and by experiences, I mean lifetimes. And then you go back to the ship to download the experiences. Dolores asks if he accumulates karma, and he said only if he chooses to. So you have karma as long as you choose to have karma. And then when you choose to not be learning it anymore or not be having that anymore, then you have no further need for it. And Dolores said that some people get trapped in their karma, to which he replies with, that's their choice. They still want to learn. They still want to have karma. They still want to have that experience. They're still getting something from having karma. Karma is only there if you choose it to be there and to learn from it. If you've learned it and moved beyond it, then it's not necessary anymore. And I was shocked when he said this, but he said that karma doesn't exist anymore actually in our earth plane. He said it's been gone for a while now, and it's just still people dealing with the residue of it, that they feel they're experiencing karma. Remember, because the new earth was going to have no karma at all. And I think it was really interesting he said this when Dolores mentioned that we as humans get so entrenched in our emotions here on earth. This is what he replied with. That's the game. That's why it's a game. That's what makes the game, is the emotions and all the stuff we get. You know, everyone wants to get caught up in the stuff, and it's your choice if you want to be in the stuff or not. Any point you can say, no, it's not my stuff. I don't want to be in it. I choose not to. And as soon as you say that, you're out of it. And you have a neutral place and you have an observer place. And it's a matter of if you want to be on the roller coaster or not. Some people want to be on the roller coaster of the drama. They love the ups and the downs. That's fine. That's the ride. It's just you choosing whichever way you want to take the ride, and that's all. If you want the full gambit of emotions, okay, fine. That's all right. It just makes the ride a different experience. And I think this is so cool in the chapter Go Be Light. Dolores describes that the client was moving her leg while the subconscious was healing her knee. So Dolores says there's no way the client was doing that on her own, the way she was moving her leg, because it looked like someone invisible was working on the leg and like pulling it in ways that there's no way that she could have done herself. And I thought that was crazy. In the chapter The Motherboard, the entity says that there's a motherboard in every being that has a body. It has little circuits on it and it has a whole mapping. So we're kind of like computers. The purpose of everything is that it's what drives everything. It's where everything comes from, the spark. It keeps the body functioning, and it has many, many different currents. The motherboard is already encoded in the DNA before being born, and that motherboard gets projected out as the electrical field. The motherboard is the default of what the person should be doing. It's in the DNA, but because of the photons, it gets projected out of the DNA and creates a field around the person. And from that field, they are able to communicate to the higher dimensions through sound and light. And although it may sound complicated, it's actually not compared to our complex technology on Earth. When someone gets sick or someone hurts you, a leak starts forming from your motherboard. And it's kind of like a short circuit, and this can be healed once again through sound and light. I thought this was hilarious. The entity says that when you say, oh, I love you so much. You don't say, oh, I love you so much with all my head. You say, I love you so much with all my heart, because the heart is actually the mainframe of the motherboard. Dolores asked if there was any way people in general could trigger this information to heal themselves, and the entity said that yes, you can. First, you have to become aware of the heart chakra. You have to breathe through your heart, and once you're in that space, and it's a very big space, once you're in there, you're in a completely different space. You're in this space that can heal anything. You're in a quantum state. Anything you think, feel, say, or do becomes your reality. And that is what triggers the electrical currents to go through the rest of the board. And you believe with all your heart, not your head. And that is the most powerful. That is what creates. Dolores was asking if she's using this when she's doing sessions for people. And the entity said that yes, you do what you do because you use the heart in a world that is run by the brain. That's why you're able to do what you do. The entity also said that being called the subconscious is okay, but it can also be called source energy. So instead of saying, may I speak to, I'll use me as example. May I speak to Ben's subconscious, or may I speak to Ben's source energy? You would actually say, I want to speak with the essence of the source that comes through Ben. And then this is a little snapshot from the book that I took a picture of. She says, correct. Just think of it like this. When a baby is born, the first thing that gets built is the heart. That is the mainframe. And when the baby comes out, the first electrical reaction that occurs is the heart. So when a person dies, if they stop breathing, they are still living because the heart is still going. The brain can stop, a leg can be cut off, arm cut off, all that could be gone. But it's not until the heart stops that the person is considered dead and no longer with us. That is the mainframe. So that is the original life force that comes through the heart. There's so much more amazing information covered about the heart and how important it is in that chapter, the motherboard. But I don't want to read the entire book to you because, like I said before, it's doing a disservice to you. Just go read it yourself. Experience the book for yourself. Dolores mentions in the final chapter of the series, an entire universe shifts. That's the name of the chapter. Before she begins the session, she always puts a powerful pyramid of white light of protection around the client. I never knew she did that. She only mentioned that in the very last chapter of the series, the ending of the series. So in that chapter, the entity was saying that our entire Milky Way galaxy is moving to another level, a higher dimension. And we know this is about the ascension to 5D. And then the entity was upset about the people that are not waking up and said that those people are going to be sent to another galaxy that matches their vibration, since our galaxy will no longer be in 3D. Then the entity says that actually our entire universe is shifting into another universe. The entity kept saying how important it is to create a shield of white light around you every day before touching people, before being around people, etc. So that's something I've been doing for a couple months now, creating a shield of white light around me. So the epilogue was written, that's kind of it, guys. The epilogue was written by Julia, which is Dolores Cannon's daughter. And she said that, yes, there will be more books coming out from Dolores in the future, even though she has passed to a higher dimension. I was really happy to hear that. I didn't think they were going to do that. The reason is because Dolores was working on so many books all the time, so that's amazing to hear. And Julia mentions that this technique that Dolores uses to put people under hypnosis was called Advanced Past Life Regression by Dolores, but then her mom and her sat down one day and decided the perfect name to call it, QHHT, or Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And the beauty of this technique is that anyone can do it without prior hypnosis experience. All you need is an open heart and a desire to help people. And it's not a coincidence that I finished the book October 11th and she passed away October 18th, 2014, which is really close. So that's that. I actually went, so that's the end of the series, guys. I went on the QHHTofficial.com website, which is their website, and I really was curious on the training that they offer. And initially I thought it was so expensive. There's like 3 levels of training you do. Level 1, it's like its own packet. I think it was like $1,200, and then like level 3 is like almost $2,000, and I'm like, oh my god, that's insane. But if you think about it, if you learn this correctly and you have the ability to heal everyone that you do sessions with like she does, it's totally freaking worth it, because you are saving just think about it. Like, let's say you have like a medical bill of like $30,000, right? And just in theory, right? Let's just think of that. Like, let's say you have like a lot of like these medical bills or whatever that haven't happened yet. Let me clarify that wouldn't have happened yet. Let's say like there's something going on with your intestines or something in your body that needs to be healed before you need to go into like a surgery or something, and then you learn how to do this stuff with just $1,200 and then the extra thousands of dollars for the 2 other levels to learn to be like fully able to do this healing. That's so much cheaper than having to end up with all those thousands of dollars in medical bills. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. And you're literally like fully healing someone without surgery. Like, you're literally using source energy, you're using white light energy, and you're always protected if you use the right protection, like it's mentioned in the book. I really want to learn how to do this kind of therapy. I think it would be amazing. I would probably go to one first. I'm probably going to find a practitioner first to do a past life regression. So I saw a video this morning on someone that did it, and she said that they want you to have at least like 40 or like 50 questions. I'm like, oh my god, like I only have like 4 questions so far. Like, I have so much thinking to do. But I really want to do that, and I'll probably film my experience. When I do that, if I do that, I also want to become a practitioner as well. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to do that. It's, at the moment, it's like not the best timing to do that, but I hope I will. So my final thoughts on the series, the whole entire Convoluted Universe series, starting from the Custodians to book 5, was that it's amazing. If you are a skeptic, I recommend you read it. If you're skeptical about things like this, you have to read it. If you're skeptical if aliens exist, if you're skeptical about just so many things, just read this series and it'll open you up. Don't blindly follow it. I mean, use your discernment as well. If you end up reading the entire series and don't believe it, then oh well, that's your belief. But it really enhanced my awareness and my consciousness, and I recommend you read it, guys. It's amazing, and I love you guys so much. Bye bye.